Hello, Magic the Gathering players. This is Antitesh Ordo. Today I want to be previewing January 4th spoilers. So I'm going to go ahead and get right into them. So there's been quite a few spoilers. If I have time, I might actually do January 3rd. If not, it's going to be a separate video. But I'm going to work my way down. I might just do January 4th and 3rd. But there's been some good cards released today, and I want to get into them. So, Twilight Prophet, 4 mana 2/4, Flying Ascend, at the beginning of upkeep. If you've ascended, reveal the top card of your library and put it into your hand. Each opponent loses X life and you gain X life, or X the converted mana cost. Whoa. As long as you have ascended, it's a bigger Dark Confidant in a sense. But instead of you losing life, your opponent loses life. And it's not bad of a costed card. 4 mana 2/4, yeah, it does only 2 damage, but has 4 toughness, so Bolt can't shut it down. So we'll see how this one's ran. Petless Plunderer, 4 mana 1/4. Whenever another creature you control dies, you create a treasure token. It's one of those treasure, because they've had many different sets have had cards. If a creature dies, create some sort of token. Dinosaur Hunter, 2 mana 2/2. If it deals damage to a dinosaur, you destroy it. So it just destroys a dinosaur. Simple common. Sea Legs. Chance creature gets +0/+2 as a pirate. If it's not a pirate, then it's -2, -0. So it's okay. It's not that great. Buccaneers Bravado. 2 mana. Target basically anything but a pirate gets +1/+1 first strike. Pirates get the +1/+1 double strike. Simple. 5 mana 4/4. Gotta go in. Champion of Twilight. In this battlefield, draw X cards, lose X life, or X the number of vampires you control. So it's just one of those, card draw vampire things. And a lot of vampire decks do support life gains, so that probably may be mediocre at best. So Mastermind's Acquisition. So here's a unique Diabolic Tutor. So Diabolic Tutors, or you choose a card you own from outside the game and put it into your hand. Of course, if you take this card to a tournament, it's like a lot of the wishes. If they pull from outside, it has to come from your graveyard. So that is a really interesting card for sure. I'm not even gonna pronounce this. Primal Calamity. Anyways, it's 9 mana 9/9. That's big right off. So it's a huge Naya commander for sure. Vigilance for each trample. In its battlefield, if you cast it, untap all lands you control. And then it has 3 abilities. Red bolts a creature for 3 mana. Green destroys an artifact or enchantment, so you got some removal there. And then white gains you 3 life for 3 mana, so it's not bad. I will say, it's kind of nice that it's a very utility commander. You can bash in with it, or you can start bolting creatures. Destroying artifacts, enchantments. Yeah, that's a very big commander-friendly card. Hornswoggle, 3 mana, counters creature spell, and then you create a treasure token. Not much to say about it. Resplendent Griffin, Flying Ascend. Whenever it attacks, if you've ascended, put a +1/+1 counter on it. So it just gets bigger every turn. It's kind of like the green-white or green-red Manland from the original Zendikar block. So yeah. Raging Regisaur, 4 mana 4/4. Whenever it attacks, deals 1 damage to target creature or player. So you can chip off one little weak creatures. And if it has Death Touch, you can start. This would be a good card if you throw for casual or maybe modern. Probably not, but the Basilisk Collar, gaining life and death touching stuff. It's always nice. Sun Collared Raptor, 2 mana 1/2. Pay 3 to give it +3/+0. It's kind of a super fire breathing or whatever. Some of these are just commons that are like not going to go over much. Suncrusted, whatever. 5 mana 2/5, has vigilance as long as you have another dinosaur. Now this is a card that's really interesting. 3 mana, Blood Sun. We have Blood Moon in Modern and Legacy and all that. Now we have Blood Sun. Enters the battlefield, draws a card. So right off the bat, that'd be kind of cool to have seen on Blood Moon, is to enter the battlefield, draw a card. It's a red card that draws a card. But it says all lands lose all abilities except mana abilities. From reading the comments on this card, it's basically stating that, you know, fetch lands are shut down, man lands are shut down, all the utility lands are shut down. They can only tap for mana. And if they don't tap for mana, well, good luck. So this shuts down fetch lands. So Modern, I can see this as a play set in a lot of decks. Now, is it better than Blood Moon? Yes and no. No to the fact it doesn't replace itself, and no to the fact you can actually use this in multicolored decks where you can at least still use your multicolors, as long as you know how to use fetch lands. Now, Blood Moon is still better on the fact that it does shut down a lot of colors and shuts down all the lands that this shuts down, but more. So it turns all the shock lands into mountains. So Blood Moon is still better in that aspect. But I can see a mono red, like Scred Red, will probably pick this up. I can easily see it being picked up. Because it also shuts down your opponent's fetch lands. It's another option for Blood Moon. It's also a budget, probably when it comes out, it'll probably be kind of a budget option, but I'm assuming this will get just as expensive as Blood Moon. It's my prediction. But also, in Scred Red, it replaces itself. Blood Moon doesn't do that. This does. So you could use a playset of these in the main board, and then sideboard in Blood Moon to support against all the other crazy multi-land, non-basic lands type decks and stuff like that. So yeah, this is a really good card. So now Mutiny. This is a cool little card. Target creature an opponent controls deals damage equal to its power to another target creature that player controls. So you basically have one of your opponent's creatures fights another creature in a sense. One red, it's Mutiny. Works. Don't know if it'll be used. So we got Reprint of Negate and Naturalize. We also got Moment's Carving, 2 mana, -2/-2 a creature, and you gain 2 life. So it's not bad, but it's not that great. There's some better cards than that. But this will still be good in like block and probably standard. Azor's Gateway. So we got Azor that came in. It's going to be later in the video. 2 mana artifact, legendary, 1 tap, draw a card, then exile a card from your hand. If cards with 5 or more different converted mana costs are exiled with Azor's Gateway, so it looks like 1 mana, 2 mana, 3 mana, 4 mana, 5 mana costs. Untap it and transform it, and you pay X, and then its landform is you tap add X mana of any one color mana to your mana pool, where X is your life total. So if you have 12 life, you get to add 12 mana. Whoo, that is insane. Commander decks are going to love that for sure. People are going to want to destroy that a lot. Arc of Orzica, whatever. Ascend. You can basically just allows you to draw if you've ascended, and it adds a colorless. So, Deadeye Brawler, 4 mana, 2/4, Death Touch, Ascend, deals combat. If you've ascended, you get to draw a card when it deals combat damage to a player. Simple. Fluxo Arterial. Oh wait, maybe I should read it. Okay, so it looks. Look at all that. Look at all this wording. So I don't know if this is properly translated from earlier. Oh no. Okay. There was more to it. Earlier this morning, I guess when it was put up, it says each opponent discards 2 cards. That's it. I'm like, that's a lot of wording for just that. But it also says if you control a vampire, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. So, Modern may actually pick this up for some mono-black vampire decks. It might make some vampire decks a little viable because you're making your opponent discard 2 cards and you're draining them and you gain that life. It's really good. It's not bad. It's not the best, but then these other cards, man. I think this also eats up my time, unfortunately. But this is gonna be I'm gonna separate this one. So this is part 4, or this is day 4. But anyways, disperse the wind. Exile target non-land permanent. For as long as that card remains exiled, its owner may cast it without paying its mana cost. That's interesting. So you exile it, but if it doesn't have flash, you're at least, they have to wait to the right phase to actually... So it's a weird removal. Or it should have made it cost 1 less. Okay. So the next one, Slaughter of the Strong. Each player chooses any number of creatures with total power 4 or less. And then sacrifice the rest. So you can, keep all your creatures with power 4 or less, but it destroys all the bigger stuff. 4 mana 2/4. I think this is just raid. 4 mana 3/2. I think it's raid or... Yep, it's raid. So whenever it attacks, you bounce a creature. So simple that. Path of the Mantle. This is an interesting enchantment. Red and white, enters the battlefield. It deals 1 damage to each creature that doesn't have first strike, double strike, vigilance, or haste. Interesting. And then when you at least attack with at least 2 creatures with one of those abilities, you transform it into the... Luckily the tower's right there. Into this tower, which adds mana of any color. Then you pay 2 and it deals 2 damage to each opponent, or you pay 3 and choose a creature at random that attack this turn and destroy that creature. So that's kind of cool. So they attack with 2 creatures, at least getting rid of 1. Attack with 10, well, at least you're killing 1. And then this guy, another Dire Fleet Daredevil. This battlefield, exile target instant sorcery card from an opponent's graveyard. You can cast that card this turn as though... And you can spend mana as though it was any mana color. And if it was be put in graveyard, it's exiled instead. So it kind of should, So it's a... It has first strike. So it's a Snapcaster Mage, but instead of flash, it's red Snapcaster Mage to deal with your opponents. Which is nice. That is really good. It's really good. So this is red Snapcaster Mage. Or Dualcaster Mage. Even though I still would like to see Dualcaster Mage make it into Modern. But but this is the... Oh man. Izzet's going to have fun with, if someone makes a good Izzet deck. This is definitely in there. Or Grixis Control. So that is the last of January 4th. Again, thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. And I will let you go, and you guys have a wonderful day.